Good morning.
Morning. Trust it's not 12 yet. So
we haven't.
Here we are. We haven't done a video in a long time.
Well, it's funny because we were just watching the most recent one that we did, and I couldn't help but observe how uncomfortable I looked as I was sitting there. I think I was having a stressful morning and a stressful life, but I think we're on the up and up. You want to talk?
Well, even if we're not.
Well, yeah, since I don't know for sure when that was, but we had our little escapade to Eminence.
Yes.
We
saw wild horses.
Yeah, we had fun with the wild horses, a couple of different herds.
I got to relax more than him because he had to come back twice for work.
Yeah. We are moving forward.
We're recommitting
independently
to this book.
Yes.
This is a really deep, difficult book. Like, you could read a page and read it over and read it again, and and there's so many things that are applicable. I think maybe we should talk about last Monday night?
Yes.
Not this past Monday. Has it been a week already?
Yes.
So we're taking a class called the Neuroscience of Communication. And tomorrow night will be our final class. It was 4 online classes. And for me, it's really making me take a step back and look at my communication with myself and my communication with him and my communication with everybody that's in my life, and the 2 kids that we still have at home. And so last Monday there was Kyle and I were talking, having a discussion, and he gets loud, and that's fine, and I'm not thrown by it anymore. I was saying what I needed to say. I was trying to listen to what he needed to say. And quickly he came in, and looking at things in hindsight, he got triggered by listening to Kyle talk to me, which I was fine with. I just don't care to I just let him talk. I just let him have his opinions and his feelings and stuff. That's how I see it. And so he was talking, I was talking, and he was getting louder, and I was, having my voice and saying what I needed to say, and he came in and he got triggered. I think this is my opinion, and he can reiterate. Part of his story is seeing his dad verbally abuse, emotionally abuse, physically abuse his mother, and I think he got triggered by that, and he became I could not control him. So then all my triggers around control and safety and not being able to control, and I've always had a fear that he and Kyle would get into a physical thing, and that I couldn't control it. So what he proceeded to do was follow me around the house, even though I was setting the verbal boundary of, I'm not talking to you about this. This is between me and Kyle. He wouldn't let up, and he followed me to the bedroom, and then I left the bedroom, and then he followed me to the kitchen, and then I left the kitchen, and then he finally went down. And I had said to him, which was another trigger, you're going to be out of here if you don't stop this. And what I meant by what I said, and this is the whole communication thing that we're learning, what I meant was, you're going to be down in the barn, away from, out of this physical place, not you are going to leave, we're getting divorced, and that's going to be the end of it. But that was the trigger, and he and I both have abandonment issues. So it was a mess until we could have our do-overs, which is what we're learning in our class, of being able to come back to it once we're emotionally stable again and really look at it. And this is the hard work. This is, most people just say, whatever, forget about it. Just, go on. And that's not what he and I want to do. So I'll let you tell your side of that that incident.
Yeah, just for clarity, I do believe that Kyle was disrespecting you, and that's one of the reasons that I
know, but if I don't feel that, then
then
I mean,
maybe,
somebody can't go around and say, "Oh, that's disrespectful," or "That's not right."
I understand that, Byron Katie, but at the same time, there is a certain level of respect that I believe Kyle should be providing you and I, especially now that we are allowing him to live back in our home. And he wasn't doing that. And that's what started me.
In your opinion.
With the trigger. So, yes.
Right.
And you don't see what you just said almost negates what I said.
No, you get to have your opinion, but your opinion doesn't change me. I had my opinion and my perspective of what happened, and I didn't see any disrespect. I see Kyle being Kyle. That's who he is. I accept him for who he is. And I'm sure there are people that would say, yeah, he's disrespectful. Well, I don't see it. Am I blind to it? Maybe. Am I his mother? Yes. Am I going to not see it for what it is? Probably, because of my own trauma. But that night on that incident, I was perfectly fine. I wasn't in fear. I didn't feel unsafe. I was fine talking to Kyle the way I was talking to Kyle. I understand you don't see it that way. Therefore,
we have a difficulty.
No, we just have a difference of perception.
Well, and the bottom line is, yes, I stepped back and looked at it in retrospect, and yes, absolutely,
But go through that night so people can understand the triggers it gets.
Kyle was saying things. Kyle was talking in a manner to him like my dad would talk to me and or my mother. But I mean,
right.
He verbally abused me. He never physically abused me, but he certainly verbally abused to the nth degree, and that's and the level at which I felt Kyle was escalating was totally unacceptable. And so I will say, in retrospect, I'm sure I probably had, the preconditioning of my father there. And I probably, I don't know, they say that you put his face on or whatever. I don't know if that's, I never saw him look like my father when he was, my judgment, verbally vomiting. But that's why I tripped, because, and it is what it is. We did learn about she calls them a redo.
Do-over.
Right? Do-over, redo. Some of the things that we're talking about in this communication class. So anyway, that's really all I have to say about that. I don't think we need to belabor the point, other than to say that this comprehensive resource model is helping us to realize some of that and that Deepest Well book. And I think we've mentioned the Deepest Well book on this video before. But, it is, sure, it's huge, but I don't want to sit here and I want to get on to brighter pastures is all I'm saying. What else did you want to say about it?
I'm just saying it's huge in that situation that night, for me, shifted everything. It opened my eyes to what happens to me when I feel unsafe. It opened my eyes to his trauma, which...
Oh, you did have that moment the next day with me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he totally got triggered. As he got triggered, I got triggered. And so what we need to do going forward is use that, which is why I say it's huge, and I think we need to spend a little bit more time on it, in that this is how I look at the world, that the universe shows up with opportunities to learn. And Kyle is a messenger. He's not the problem. Kyle is a messenger in order for me to get the pieces that I need to be looking at and working on. And so since that night, which has been a week and a half, I look at him differently. I look at Kyle differently. I'm looking at myself differently. I'm listening to actual things that are being said, and I'm stepping into and being vulnerable in situations where in the past I would just let it go by and not use it as a learning opportunity, because I want to be a different person. I don't want that situation to ever happen again. He and I are still, as you just witnessed, we disagree. And part of our thing is we have to learn how to disagree and have it be okay. He has his right to his opinion, and he has to experience his life. I have a right to my opinion, and I need to experience my life. I feel like when we first got together at 15 and 17, we were joined at the hip, and I worked night and day to make him like me so that I felt safe. And I don't want that anymore. That's what's changing and shifting. And I think that situation that night showed me so many things. I mean, so many layers, so many opportunities, so many different ways to look at things. And so going forward, what I want to do is be aware of what his triggers are. Not that I'm not going to trigger him, because I think through the triggers we learn if we're open to that. You don't want to go through life wrapped in bubble wrap, never having a trigger. I mean, I've got smells that are a trigger. I don't want to ever not smell those smells or guard myself or say, oh, I can't go to that function because, oh my God, I might be triggered. And I say that in that every single one of us that has suffered trauma, you have to take care of you first. And if you can't go to a function because Santa Claus was a person that molested you, then don't. I mean, you have to make the calls for you. I don't want to guard myself in my life anymore. I've been there. I spent 57 years guarding myself and being afraid and living in anxiety and not trying things and not moving forward and being afraid and not having friendships and not building relationships with men because I'm terrified. So I have to keep telling myself I'm done with that part. I'm done with that part. I don't want to be afraid, and I don't want to guard myself. I don't want to keep my guard up all the time. So it was huge, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I keep using it as a reference thing, like from the last 10 days. It's like, okay, this is starting to escalate. What can I do in my own mind? Do I need to say that? Is that going to be helpful? Is that kind? Is it compassionate? Sometimes we have to move out of that space in order to have our voice and to say what we need to say. And I think we're getting better at accepting, even though it may happen and then we have to come back to it, doing it messy. I mean, we don't know how to do. We're learning, and I really think this neuroscience of communication is big, and I haven't studied with it and done as many exercises as I would like to have done, but there's plenty of time in life, hopefully.
Yes, there is.
So, what else would you like to talk about? Where are we at on time?
We're in
14 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think we could talk about the experience with Rose. Would that be, or is that still processing and too soon? thinking still processing too soon.
No, I don't. I mean, I can always come back to it and do another video. So Dr. Rose in Union does she has a system that she runs called Zyto, and it uses Bach flower remedies, and Bach flower remedies are emotional remedies that help you navigate and use and clarify your emotions. And we haven't been there. I haven't been there since 2016, and I went for an adjustment and I went for a Zyto reading, and I know about Zyto. I know what it can do for me, and I knew that I was in a space where I need help with that emotional piece. I keep saying I want to move into a spiritual, sexual connection with him. But I was blocked. I just couldn't move forward. The fear and the anxiety just kept me immobilized, and just keep saying no, I'm not ready. Well, it's like, okay, but you keep saying you want this. So I really had to do some internal work with myself, and it's like, okay, go to Rose. A friend of mine is going to see her, and I was like, oh, she's got that Zyto machine. Yes. Okay. So we went Monday, and two of the biggest, and she did my remedy. I think there's 4 or 5 different remedies in the Centauri carrier one. And two of the big things were, one of the remedies talks about saying no to an adult sexual abuser. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. And it occurred to me in that split second that I've been saying no to the wrong person. I keep saying no to him because I'm guarding myself out of safety. But what I need to do is, what I'm going to do is go back and rewrite my life story the way that I wanted it to be. And it's kind of if you know anything about Joe Dispenza, he talks about living your future self now. You have to do that in order to change. And I'm still working with physical diseases that I'm trying to reverse, and I've made great progress on reversing some of them. But I have others that I still want to reverse. So I'm going to go back and rewrite my childhood. And it's not to make it all lovely and wonderful, and I mean, but I'm gonna write my life as if I didn't suffer the trauma at the babysitters. And that changes everything. And Rose, like Rose said, the joy and the pleasure around sex was taken away from me. And it was. And for most of my life, I was like, yeah, but, and it was because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to look at reality. And the reality is, yes, that is exactly what happened. My abusers, 20 plus, I'm going to say, robbed me of a lot of stuff. And it's my job now that if I want to go and thrive, that I have to do this. I have to do this work. So I'm rewriting that piece. And leaving the past in the past, and the astrology is all lined up with that. And to stop saying no to him, because he's not the one that I need to say no to. He is a safe male. But because of what I went through, I have to remind myself of that every single day. Yet, I'm sure I will get to a point, I don't know, will it be 3 days? Will it be 30 years? I don't know. Hope to God it isn't 30 years. That I have to remind myself every morning that he is a safe male, and he loves me, and he's doing his best to be in this relationship and be on the ground and be in the fire, and as I am. And with all of his trauma, he has to remember and tell himself, I am here. I am in the game. I am staying put. I'm not leaving. I think one of his really big things is abandonment because his mom left him. And so anytime I threaten, which is what I did the other night, and I apologize for that. I think I've said it to you, but if I haven't,
You did.
what a horrible thing to do. Bad. That was just, but we all get caught in those times in life where things just happen, and then you're on the other side of it, and it's like, oh my God, how did that happen? And we have to have the courage, and like Sheila says, the gal that runs our communication group, do-overs. We got to be able to do it messy. I mean, none of us are perfect at this, and a lot of people are in relationships that they just don't know how to navigate. And if you've been in them for 15 or 20 plus years, there's so much that's gone under the bridge, and it is easier on the surface to just let things go. But eventually you end up with cancer, or you end up with rheumatoid arthritis, or you end up with some kind of blood disease.
Or a divorce. Or
Yeah. And then you pick another one that's just like the one that you had. You're like, damn, that should have just stuck in the one I had.
So I want to say a little something about that, because a friend of mine, a friend of ours, mentioned, we've had a really unique situation with as much as I ran over the road. But one of the things that Mike did mention, and I hadn't really thought about it until he mentioned it, if any of you saw that last video when Amelia was talking about the mason jar and we get down to the 20% level and then I'm back on the road again. Well, the bottom line is a lot of people that are living this day-to-day life do the same thing. So the uniqueness maybe isn't so much there. But what Mike was saying is, if you recall, he basically said that, Julie and I have, a limited amount of time together, and sometimes we only get that top part as well, So I just wanted to mention that, we are unique. I mean, everybody's unique, right? But in that regard, I just wanted to mention that I do think I'm sure there's a lot of truth to that. The average couple has a hard time getting down to the bottom,
work.
the deep work that really, if you want to have a thriving relationship, which is what we certainly are striving for, and it is kind of exciting to know that maybe there's a little bit of, I know I've been patient. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that we are aware that everybody has a difficulty in getting to those deep levels, and I think as a couple would recommend you do the deeper dives in order to...
Yeah, and time management is huge. Because if we don't manage our time, then our time manages us, and a lot of times we don't get done of a day or a week or a year what we would like to get done.
Yeah, in fact, it's almost 2022.
Yep.
Like, twos are wild.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard to even wrap my brain around.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say one more. Where are we at on time? 24 minutes, okay. One of the things that showed up with Rose Monday was she goes through and uses kinesiology and tests all your organs and everything. And she said, which is not unlike me because I'm not your norm, my lungs were offline during the day. And she was like, I have never had. And I knew immediately that I'm not breathing during the day when he's home. I have stopped, and I don't mean that literally because, I would be dead. But metaphorically speaking, I have stopped breathing because of and I've said this in other videos, him coming in off the road. Ooh, now, somebody's here all the time. That was like scary, 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 scary. So, doing this whole piece that we did with her is balancing out those emotional pieces, and the not breathing during the day, not breathing with him, and I've already felt a shift in my emotional state in just 2 days of using the Bach flower remedies. I've used them in the past. A lot of times I forget that that I work really well with them. They work really well with me. So we are making some progress. It's been a long sabbatical between last video and this video.
Long and winding road.
Yeah, but
I'm on my third round of 75 hard.
Yes, he is.
Day 10, I think, today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Self-discipline is
Sun's out, guns out.
an important thing. Yeah, he has a kilt on today.
I do have a kilt on. I was told that it's a kilt. What did he
Not
say?
a skirt. Oh,
No.
it's a kilt only if you don't have any underwear on
Yeah,
underneath.
it's a skirt unless you don't have underwear on. So then it becomes a kilt, and so I guess technically it's a skit. Is that a roundabout way of people knowing
What's
whether
a
or not I'm
skilt?
wearing underwear? I do.
I hope you have underwear on. I don't need to know one way or the other.
Oh, but the people out there want to know. I have sexy legs.
That's what they want to know, that you have sexy legs?
No.
Alrighty.
Okay.
That's it for today.
TTFN.
Good book. We'll have more to report back once we get back into it. See you
Okay.
later.
Bye.
Bye.